Hey, what's up, guys? So today I'm going to talk about why I think, at least, the Jeep Wrangler TJ is a great first car. So if you guys are looking for getting your first car, you're trying to convince your parents to let you have a TJ, I'm just going to kind of talk about just kind of the things that make the TJ definitely a good car for or a good first car. So if you definitely want to show your parents this video, maybe it can kind of convince them to let you get a TJ. So anyway, so we're going to talk about pricing. Now, pricing is kind of all over the place with TJs, depending on the mileage that you're getting, year, options, all that kind of stuff. So, but I would say a good range would be $5,000 to $15,000, with like most of them being probably in the $10,000 range. And like I said, it kind of depends on the miles you go for. If you're going to go over 100,000 miles, you're going to be able to start getting TJs for a little bit cheaper. So, for some people, that's going to be way out of the price range for a first car, but for some people, it'll probably be a good start. I'll go back to my other point. I was talking about the price. If these TJs are too expensive, another good Jeep for a first car would be a Jeep Cherokee. So that's the XJ model. It's more of the smaller SUV, and those go for a little bit less than TJs do. So that's definitely another great option as far as a first car is doing an XJ. So probably the first thing that's good about the TJs is they're very reliable. So they came with a 4-liter straight six. And they also came with some 4-cylinder engines as well. But if you go with the 4-liter straight six, it's a very reliable engine. If you guys maintain your Jeep, so if you end up getting one and you maintain it, or it was maintained by the previous owner, it's going to last you a very long time. So I'll have some people, if you guys with 4 liters want to put some comments down below on the mileage you guys have on your 4 liters, and you guys will see that there's a lot of miles on them. Another nice thing about having a TJ for a first car is they're very inexpensive to fix. So I'll throw up some images of some parts for the TJ. So for like a new radiator on Rock Auto, you can pick up a new radiator for around $65. Water pumps around $25. So as far as needing repairs on your TJ, it's going to be very inexpensive to fix, which is really nice thing, especially if it's your first car. Either your parents are going to pay for repairs, or you're going to pay for repairs. Definitely a nice thing to know that even if something does go wrong, it's relatively inexpensive to fix. That leads me to another point. If you know how to work on vehicles or don't know yet, the TJ is a great first car to start working on. They're very simple to work on. I'll show you under the hood here, so I can show you just how easy it is to work on a TJ and how much room you have. You just have tons of room to get at everything. Oil changes are super simple. You have the oil filter down in there. Everything's very accessible and easy to fix on these things. There's really not too many things that you need special tools for. It's really nice compared to modern day cars. These old Jeeps are just awesome as far as being able to get at stuff, which is really nice. So that's definitely another plus for a first car is, you probably don't want something super complex. A Jeep is definitely a good thing to start with, and learning on how to fix stuff. So another good thing for some younger people is the Jeeps are slow. So if you're a parent that's worried about your kid driving too fast, too crazy, good thing is the Jeeps are pretty slow. The 4-liter straight six makes like 190 horsepower, which in today's standards isn't very much. It's more of a torquey engine, so it's got a little more low end grunt. But they're not speed machines, so you really don't have to worry about going too fast in a Jeep. You have to really try to get speed out of these things. So another thing I would do is, if you're looking at getting a Wrangler, I would definitely recommend getting the manual transmission version. Me personally, I think driving a manual makes you more attentive while driving. You're more involved, and you really can't text and drive with a manual. At least it's a lot harder, and you shouldn't text and drive anyway. But a manual, you have to be more involved. At least starting out, you have to be more involved with what's going on. Once you get used to manual, It's pretty simple, but I like a manual. You have more control over the car, and I think you have to pay a little bit more attention, which is a good thing. So a lot of people think, oh, Jeeps are super tippy and you're gonna tip over your Jeep, turn around corners. You know, maybe back in the day with the old CJ Jeeps, you know, if you are buying a Jeep with a lift kit, you know, it's gonna be a little more tippy than on stock suspension. Mine's on stock suspension with just some different fenders and bigger tires. I actually have bigger, wider tires, so the actual, the width of my Jeep is a lot wider, so it's a lot more stable than, say, you know, a lifted one would be. So just keep an eye out for that. You know, a super lifted Jeep, you know, is going to be, I guess you could say, more tippy. But, you know, a stock Jeep or, you know, even a very small lift, you really don't have to worry too much about, you know, flipping your Jeep. You know, if you're doing crazy maneuvers at high speed, you know, you're going to probably flip most SUVs, maybe Jeep a little more, but it's not a big of a problem as a lot of people like to think. So another thing that's really cool about the TJs is you can kind of customize it to your liking. So, you know, most people's Jeeps, you know, look completely different. So like my Jeep is pretty different than most other people's Jeeps. And it's kind of a cool thing that, you know, you can kind of, I don't know, at least, you know, in the car community, like modding your car is just a really cool thing you can do. Generally, you make a lot of friends who have cars and like modding cars, and you guys kind of get together and mod cars. So I guess you can kind of stay out of a little bit of trouble, you know, instead of doing crazy stuff. You can come home and with your buddies and mod your Jeeps and stuff like that. So that's kind of I would say, a good thing. So probably the last negative I would say for the TJ is going to be the gas mileage. You know, you're not going to be getting anywhere near any of the modern day cars as far as mileage gets. I get about 16 combined. I can pull about 20 on the freeway if I'm really light on the throttle. And then I can pull about, I don't know, probably 14 in the city. So it's not the best as far as gas mileage, but you do get, you know, this kind of Jeep, you do get some trade-offs. You get the reliability of the straight six. You know, and the straight six is a great reliable motor, but it doesn't make a whole lot. It doesn't do very well as far as gas mileage wise. But I don't know. I don't think that's the end of the world, especially if it's a first vehicle and you're probably driving to school and home and work maybe. So you're really probably not driving a whole lot. But that's just something to consider. You know, it's just definitely not the most fuel efficient car. So the Jeep interior is kind of nice. You're not gonna have to worry about you know, your kid messing with the like a navigation system or anything like that. It's just a basic stereo system, like in the old days with the CD player. They probably don't know what that is, but yeah. So it's just the TJ interior is a nice. They're older Jeeps, but it's still a nice interior. Yeah, it's kind of plasticky, I guess, but you know, for a first car, it's definitely a nice. The seats are very nice. They roll back here, so you have some room back here. That rear seat folds all the way down, so you can get some extra storage. So if they need to carry some stuff, you can carry some stuff back there. So overall, those are just kind of my thoughts on why I think a TJ is definitely a great first vehicle. You know, they're reliable, cheap to fix, not that expensive to start out with, and they're really cool. They're just really cool vehicles. Oh, another thing I wanted to talk about too is, especially getting a manual. You know, most kids nowadays don't know how to drive manual. So if you get your kid a manual Jeep, you know, their friends aren't going to be probably, you know, driving around and stuff like that. So you don't have to worry about their friends, you know, driving all crazy and stuff like that. But that's just kind of a thought. But anyway, so those are just kind of my thoughts on why I think a TJ is a perfect first car. I just made a video on why it's a good daily. A lot of these things cross over from being a good daily to being a good first car. So. But anyway, guys, I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, please give it a thumbs up. And definitely consider subscribing. That helps me out a lot, guys. And I will see you guys in the next video.